has been some spending that I have done. And mainly for me, it would go into that essential categories. And I say it's essential. It's not essential for everyone. I had this debate with a very good friend of mine. And hello, and welcome to my channel. My name is Tamika, and thank you so much for joining me today. Just want to let you know that I drop videos on every Thursday and on Sundays, trying to make that effort to drop videos twice a week. So hopefully you'll be able to join me on both of those days. So today you may see that I am in a little bit of a different location. So I'm actually spending the weekend away with some friends. I don't want to call it a staycation because I feel like staycation is when you like stay home on a vacation. So maybe like a location. We have just decided to spend the weekend at the National Harbor, which is about 30 minutes from my home. I live in the Washington, D.C. area. So just wanted to do something different, get away before the summer ends, and be able to spend some time with my friends in a really nice location. So that's why the room looks a little bit different today. But I wanted to take this time to check in with you and let you know how things were going with my 30-day August no-buy. So you may be saying, Tamika, how are you vacationing and you're doing a no-buy? So just to be clear, that this is a trip that was planned way before I decided to do my no-buy. I saw the video in regards to doing the no-buy at the beginning of August, and I decided to do my no-buy around the week of August 6th, and I had planned this trip, or we were in the process of planning this trip before I had started my no-buy. But I will say that it is my intention to not spend on this trip. It's only 2 days away. So we have dinner planned tonight and we're going to hang out and then spend some time down here. So really a day and a half here at the National Harbor. So the only expense was the hotel room. I think that when it comes to the no-buy, this was very much already in the plans, and I'm doing this time away in a very mindful spending way. But other than that, just want to dive in and let you know how things have been going and what I have learned over the last 30 days. So my last video, if not, I will make sure that I link it below, is I really had to take a step back when I realized how much mindless, not mindful, how much mindless spending I had been doing. And that was noticeable with me when I had started looking at how much I was spending on Amazon. And when I talked about it in my last video, I was only able to go back like 3 months on my Amazon spending. And I was really shocked on how much money was going to Amazon items and also Amazon for my grocery shopping as well. So I use Amazon Fresh and I use Whole Foods. So I really wanted to take a step back and stop the Amazon spending. That I will have to say over these last 30 days has been a challenge. It's just really natural for me every day. I don't know if anyone else is like this. Please, if you're like this, let me know in the comments. Every day I go into Amazon and I look around to see if there's items to purchase. I don't need anything, but it's become such a habit of me going into Amazon every day. It's become less and less as the month has gone on, and I know it will continue to be less and less. I do have that tendency to go onto Amazon and add things to cart. This was a helpful hint that I had heard somewhere else online of adding to cart but not purchasing. So that's what I've done, is that there's something that in my mind, I think I want to buy. I add it to my Amazon cart and then I don't do anything. And then I go in the next day and I evaluate whether or not I want to keep it in the Amazon cart. And what I told myself is that I will keep things that I feel like are essential to the end of August. And then if I still want it, I'll purchase it at that time. And then what I have found is when I go in the next day, I don't want it. There's nothing right now on that Amazon cart. At the very beginning of the month, I was putting things in, going back the next day, and then realizing that I don't need it and then deleting it out. That to me was identifying a behavior that I had, which is that impulse spending. Feeling like I need that item right now. And that's what Amazon was giving me, that fix, that I would call it that dopamine fix of that instant gratification of wanting an item, getting it right away, seeing it at my door 2 days later, and in some cases being like, why did I buy this? I don't need it. But then doing it over again. So that was one of the main things that I identified over this last 30 days. What I have learned over the last 30 days is reflecting on that impulse spending, that mindless spending that I have been doing, especially with Amazon. And it's not just Amazon. I find myself going on to what I call my trilogy of clothing shopping sites: Banana Republic, The Gap, Navy. And going on their sites and seeing what's coming out new in the fall, and also adding things to cart, but not purchasing. And one thing about those three sites is that they don't let you carry it over to the next day. I think if you don't purchase it in a couple of hours or whatever, they take it out of your cart. That's been helpful as well. Not spending anything instantly, like giving myself space to reflect on whether or not there are items that I need or items that I want. So that's been really helpful. And what I have learned over these last 30 days is knowing that I have the habit of wanting that instant gratification, stepping away. One other thing that I've done over these last 30 days is going in and reevaluating those recurring bill payments that are essential and those that are not. So, of course, car payments, mortgage, light bill, gas bill, all those things are essential. They're in a separate category, all their own. But I also have some recurring memberships and subscription services, whether or not that be what was one of Sirius XM radio. I have a home alarm, which I think is important to have. And those weren't things that I wanted to necessarily get rid of, but I felt as if I was paying too much. So I called all of them and I negotiated to reduce those payments. I told them all that I wanted to reduce it from less than half. So if I was paying ADT $60 a month, I wanted it to be $20 a month. And at first they tell you no. And this was something that's advice I want to give everyone out there. If they will negotiate lowering their prices with you, they do not want to lose you. They don't want to lose you as a member. They don't want to lose you as a subscriber. So I was able to negotiate all of them to way less than half of what I'm paying now. So when I go into the month of September, all those kind of recurring payments will be a lot less. I think next for me would be looking at some of my editing software. I'm new to YouTube and I edit my own videos. I'm not an expert editor. So I do use a couple of subscription services to edit. I have an Adobe, I have Canva, and I have Descript. I don't think that I need all three. So I think what I'm going to be doing now is evaluating which editing service works best for me and just whittling it down to one. So has this month been completely perfect? I would say the answer is no. There has been some spending that I have done. And mainly for me, it would go into that essential categories. And I say it's essential. It's not essential for everyone. I had this debate with a very good friend of mine, and she says that it's not essential. And I tell her that it's not essential for her, but it is essential for me. And it's because it makes me feel good. And I think that when you do a no buy, it shouldn't be to punish yourself. I did not do this to punish myself. I did it to learn and reflect on my behaviors. This was not a punishment. So some of the things that I still continue to do was get my nails done, my toenails done, my eyebrows done. Those things are essential to me. I feel good when I do it. And it's a service that I could probably get down to once a month. So that is something that I did not cut out, that I still continue to do during this no buy. And I also, which I also think is essential, is that I have a beautiful cat, Estelle, and there were things that she needed from Chewy, her food, her litter, all those things. Those are essential. Purchasing things for the cat, that's going to continue to happen. I can deny myself things. Honestly, I will not deny her. I wanted to pull up my checking account just to make sure there wasn't anything that I have missed. And outside of my recurring monthly bills, and what I see here is a charge from Chewy. There is nothing. I did very good. Also, what's on here that I see is that I did go grocery shopping. That was one of the things that I talked about, that I no longer was going to go to buy my groceries from Amazon. I did decide that I was going to go to my local grocery store. I made myself a list. I checked it twice. And while I was in the grocery store, I stuck to what was on my list. I did not go off my list. Oh, it's funny being back in the grocery store. I didn't know where anything was, but that's okay. I want to learn where things are in my local grocery store so that I will not have to call on grocery delivery, which there's the upcharge for delivery. And I think it's just really important to get out and do more shopping in person. And lastly, one of the things that I have done this month, like I said, is reevaluating what was essential, what was not, but also reflecting on really looking at any sort of credit card debt. I feel like I don't have actually what I would call like huge credit card debt, but if you have a credit card bill, to me, that is credit card debt. So I do have 2 credit cards, and I gave myself a goal that I wanted to pay off both of those credit cards in the next 2 years to be at 0. So that would mean really being diligent in not paying, of course, the minimum balance, but paying above the minimum balance. And if I do purchase something using the credit card, I pay for it within that bill cycle. And it's not going to be amounts that I carry over from month to month, which then occurs all of that interest. That's going to take a lot of discipline, but I am up for it. I want to go into my 50s debt free. I do not want any debt in my 50s because that's when I'm going to be gearing up to retire. And I don't want to be working this 9 to 5 forever. I want to retire debt free. So that is my goal. That is my end game. That is why one of the reasons why I've really decided to step back and reflect on my spending, because if I continue to spend how I am today or 30 days ago, I would not be able to feel as if I could go into my 50s with little or no debt, which is my goal. So that is where I have really adjusted, making sure that I was paying really above my minimum for all of my credit cards moving forward. When you go in and look at how you pay your bill, they'll give you a chart of saying, hey, if you pay this amount, you'll be paid off by this date. If you pay this amount, you'll be paid off by that date. I don't know if everyone's ever noticed that. I just noticed that for the first time when I gone in and it started looking at whether or not I could negotiate my APR, which will be the next thing. I think my APR is way too high. And if I could get Sirius XM radio to decrease my monthly payment amount, I don't know why Discover Card can't lower my APR. So that's going to be something that I'm going to work on. But yeah, so that's where I am, just really focusing on the reasons why, or the fix that I get from purchasing. And to me, that is that dopamine, that quick dopamine fix of purchasing that high, and then the reflection afterwards that, gosh, I shouldn't have bought that. Why did I buy that? I have to say that it's not how I felt this month. And it led to me having a really amazing month and me feeling more control around my spending. So now that we are at the end of August, what does September look like? So I am going to continue this no buy, but I'm going to reframe it in a different way, because I think that the term no buy to me is not a reality of how I live my life. I would like to reframe it as mindful spending. I want to be mindful. I want to be able to evaluate and be able to make really sound decisions about the purchases. We're going into the fall, and there may be items of clothing that I need to purchase for the fall. I have lost quite a bit of weight. So I know when I pull out the winter and fall clothes that I wore last year, honestly, I may not be able to fit them all. So it will require me probably buying some other kind of key wardrobe essentials that I'm going to need, going into the fall or the fall and the winter. So it's not a reality that I'm not going to be able to spend on clothes. However, the way that I do it, the way that I think about it, I want it to be different than the way that I've done it before, and not just clicking and purchasing right away. I want to add to cart, and everything, I'm going to wait 24 hours or maybe even 42 hours before I decide to go in and purchase it. No more instant gratification. I want to get out my fall and winter clothes, look at what I need. I want to try on everything in my closet, see what I need, what I don't need. There's probably more that I don't need than actual need, but I want to be able to go into my closet and do it again in a mindful way. Any consumption, any buying that I do coming up will be really I keep using the word mindful, but that's how I want to frame it and do it. Drink every time I say mindful. So, but that's what I want to do. I want it to be mindful consumption. I think for me, a no buy is not a realistic thing. A low buy or mindful buy is where I would like to bring it into the month of September. So I'm going to carry this over. I'm going to keep you posted on how things are going. And if you are doing a low buy, a no buy, I would really like to hear how it's going. And also, I would love to hear also some best practices. Are there things that you do that help you spend less? Like the trick that I learned of adding to cart and letting it sit there. I would love to hear whether or not those are tricks that you do to help with your spending. And if there's something you think I should be doing that could be helpful as well. Because like I said before, everything that I added to my cart on Amazon, where I thought that I needed it right away, when I went back 24 hours later, I deleted it. And I thought by the end of the month, I would have all these items in my Amazon cart that I would have freeness, like, oh, nobody's over, I'm going to purchase it. It is the end of the month and there is nothing in my Amazon cart. Nothing. I didn't need any of those things. I just needed time away. I need to step away and not done things in an instant. But I could keep talking about that all day. But thank you so much for joining me today. Yeah, like I said, if there are tips or tricks that you could share with me, please put them down in the comments. I would love to get a discussion going. Let me know how possibly your no buy is going, if that's something that you are partaking in for the month of August. Yeah, I would love to hear that from you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.